Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Podcast, the Daily Attorney Podcast. I'm your host, Marie-Yves Jean-Baptiste. And at the podcast, as you all know, we talk to women attorneys all over the United States who are amazing at what they do inside and outside of the legal profession. Today, I am proud to announce that we have with us attorney Karin Y Coger. Attorney Coger is a lawyer and an entrepreneur who always wanted to make a mark on the world by combining her love of business and her love of intellectual property law, which is very difficult, by the way. She has practiced law for over 16 years and is a savvy businesswoman. She understands the ups and downs of being a business owner, and trust me, there are many, and knows that every single day is not a smooth one, which we will touch on later. Her business aspirations has steered her towards selling on eBay and eventually on Amazon. We all know that Amazon is a major leader in e-commerce, and she decided that she wanted to open up a firm that protects individuals who sell on Amazon and focuses on business persons, entrepreneurs, and all creatives who need legal assistance. Attorney Coger, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. And it's Karin Coger.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I do apologize for butchering your name.
No
So tell us, why did you decide to become an attorney? Like out of all professions, like why this crazy one, right?
It's funny. So the short answer is everybody says I should become an attorney.
Oh,
but the longer answer is I always had an interest in the law. While I attended Cheltenham High School, which is outside of Philadelphia, I was involved in a program at Temple University Law School called Temple Leap. It was for high school students. We came down, worked with some of the law school students. We had mock trials. We went over mock cases. And it really, exercised your brain. So that was my first experience, in the law. And afterwards, I attended Hampton University, and I was a mass media major. So at that time, Hampton did not have minors, but what you could do is you could take the number of classes that would be equivalent to a minor. So all of my classes were in political science or government. So again, still combining the love of media and the love of law. And afterwards, I went to Howard University School of Law.
okay. Now, why did you open your own firm? Like, why not work as an associate?
Okay. So associate life was not for me. I have been an associate. So uh, having been in that position, I wanted to take a more leadership role in a firm and in my own firm. Is in associate life, I feel like you were in a practice area and that you were pigeonholed into that practice area. Is very hard to get out of that practice area. Also, the type of law that I'm practicing was for small business owners, and a lot of the big firms did not have small business owner clients. They had major corporations. So I did not really feel like I was helping anybody while I was at the big firm.
So, what was the main, I guess, piggybacking off of that, what was the major difference that you saw working with small businesses versus the major corporations?
So with the major corporations, you are very low on the totem pole. Um, there's a big there's so many people between you and the president of the corporation, right? So you are not involved in the vision of the corporation. You're not involved in helping the corporation to grow. I practice insurance defense. So essentially, I was litigating cases that involve slip and falls, car accidents, um, people falling on the sidewalk of the business, and I defended the insurance company. I was not helping the little person. And so because I always had that interest in business and had my own business, I said, I need to help people like me. So I'm working at a firm and I had the e-commerce business on the side and said, you know what, it's time for me to go out and help other people like me.
Now, in your intro, I mentioned the fact that, you're very aware, right, of ups and downs of businesses. And I think that's kind of one of the fallacies that most people think that as soon as you own your own business, it's kind of like smooth sailing,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
you open, you start making money. Thank you to, platforms such as social media. It's easy to kind of just see a brief snapshot of someone and where they are in their lives, right?
Right.
But you don't necessarily see all the hustle and the bustle and the grind that you have to work on every single day to either sustain yourself or to get to where you want to be eventually. So let's talk about some of those ups and downs. Like, what are some of the challenges that maybe you had to overcome, either growing your practice or opening your practice?
I would say the first challenge that I had to overcome was fear. Fear can make you stagnant. There's so many people that said, "Oh, you don't want to do that." There were so many white men, law firm owners, who, when I expressed my interest to them, told me that I didn't want to do it. And I was like, "Well, why wouldn't I do it? You did it. Do you think I can't?" There's fear when you don't get a paycheck every 2 weeks and your income is determined by what you in your business does, whether it's you working in the business as the attorney or whether other people are working for you. So fear would be the number one. Number two is consistent flow of cases, consistent cash flow, and getting to a place where you are, I can't say it's a fine tooth comb, but you're trying to get to a place where it's a fine tooth comb, where you have um, when you get rid of the bumps, but there's a lot of bumps on the way. I've been in this business for almost 2 years now, and started completely on my own with my own savings, not a loan from the bank. So you have to start your business, finance your business, decide where your business is going to be. And I actually have a friend right now who is preparing probably a 100-step list of everything to do to start a business.
I love that. I love that. And there are lists out there like that,
Mhm.
right? But they're not as comprehensive, I think, to what we do. I know some of the books that I read. One of them is I think it's Jay Foonberg or Feinberg, that everyone I think reads when they're starting a law firm, and it's how to build basically how to build a solo practice,
Mhm.
and how to start your law firm. But this book, it's still great, but it hasn't been updated in like
Correct.
25 years,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Which doesn't really help us at all, in
Exactly.
certain respects. But when I read it, it did kind of give me a nice little platform, um, to kind of catapult on. Another book that was good. It, I don't even remember the name and the author. It was really good, but it was more geared towards starting a family law practice.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, that's great.
Yeah.
Family law was one of my areas. I recently made the decision to protect my mental health and take that off my plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if somebody else wants to do it, bless their heart. But I would like to live past 65. So
Yeah.
I took that off my plate. But yes, yeah, so needless to say, that book was kind of geared towards that. But I don't know if there could ever be like the treatises that we have, right? But just have different sections for different areas of law of how to start, a law firm with this specific one. So I think like 100-point list, maybe on a general scale, is a really great start. And maybe if somebody out there can start another list, that starts at 101 for
Right.
certain areas, that actually would be really, really nice. So kudos to your friend for doing that.
That's great. And I told her it goes in line with what I do now with my clients, with working with entrepreneurs. Some come in with an idea and they want to get to that point where they're a full-blown business. And it's great helping people build.
It is, and I can't imagine how rewarding it can be to kind of see someone's dream come to life, right?
Yeah.
How often do you get to see that?
Um, the web and flow. So
Okay.
for instance, I not only do I work with small businesses, I also work in the area of trademark registration. So that is a long process. So right now, that registration is taking anywhere between 12 to 18 months.
Oh,
And client, exactly. And even though you may tell the client that at the outset, there's a lot of anxiety, while you're waiting for that trademark to come through. What do I do if I don't get the mark? What do I do if somebody starts using my mark, while this registration is pending? But the feeling that you get when that trademark registration is granted, you get the mine is up there on the wall. You get your certificate with the gold seal. It's a great feeling. It's
it's
like,
a great fit. I can imagine. It's like practicing like immigration law,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
When someone finally gets their immigration papers, you're like, yes.
exactly.
Yeah, I have a friend, Sherry Hoydra. She practices in our state, and she posts about it all the time. And it's so amazing to just see that. So I get that. Do you get to do that? Like maybe post on social media when a client gets their mark? Yeah, isn't it it's such a great thing, right? Like you get to also share it with the world.
Yeah, and working for somebody else, you don't really have these opportunities. The firm that you're with or the company that you're with might have a social media policy. You have to watch what you're saying. You always have people seeing disclaimers that, my opinions are my own and they are no reflection, upon my employer. Well, I am the employer. And so these are the opinions of the employer.
Yep, these are my thoughts, my page, my thoughts, right?
Mhm.
What does your family, think about what you do?
They're proud. My brother works in finance. He's 5 years younger than me, and he is an entrepreneur as well. So we were raised with entrepreneurial principles. Both have been in positions with corporate America, working for ourselves, but they are proud and they definitely tell people what I do.
Oh, of course, I'm sure. Now let's talk about Amazon. I love it in your bio, right? Because you say um, Amazon is out there protecting itself. And I
Hmm.
think, on some level, whether macro, micro, or major corporations, they're really all about reducing risk,
Hmm.
right? Because they're targets. They can be targets. So I understand that. But what is your experience, with Amazon as both like a seller and now as someone who protects, small businesses and their interests?
Amazon can be rewarding, but like anything else, there's the small guy. So most people, you'll hear about stories about people going to thrift shops and finding what they have out there and putting them up on Etsy, and you can put them up on Amazon as well. But on Amazon, you always have to worry about another seller coming along and copying your product, copying your description word for word, trying to get the sale out from underneath you. Um, Communication with Amazon as a seller has gotten more difficult over the years. It used to be a point where you could call the Amazon helpline, they would call you back, right away within 2, 3 minutes. Now you sit there and wait for an email, and there is not a direct line for somebody that you can
Ah,
call at Amazon about your problem. You have to submit a ticket. Amazon does protect their own intellectual property, but it also protects intellectual property of others. So if you are found to have infringed, they can shut your account down.
okay.
And there are people that are selling millions on Amazon. So if their account is shut down, that's their whole livelihood. So that is also where the firm comes in, is helping those type of sellers, making sure that their business and their intellectual property is straight. Amazon does have a program now where if you have applied for a trademark, it can kind of fast track you
Mhm.
into Amazon branding. I don't know if you notice, sometimes when you go on Amazon, a brand will actually have its own store on Amazon. If you
Mhm.
own your own trademark, you can do that. So that's another part of helping the small guy or the small business get somewhere else in a big world.
I see. I love that. We had Jessica Bull on the other day, and she's an attorney in our state in Maryland. I know you're in Jersey, and she does trademark and IP law. I don't have much experience, with it, and when I hear you attorneys talk about it, I'm so fascinated, right? Because I just think it's such a unique area of law.
Mhm.
Um, And there aren't that many attorneys that practice it, right?
There aren't, when you're in it, you feel like everybody around you is a trademark attorney because that's who you're associating
Mhm.
with. But when you actually look at the numbers, there are not a lot of attorneys. Um, I actually was speaking to your office and telling them that I am adding to my practice student athlete name, image, and likeness law. That's what I'm going to call it
I
because
saw that. Congratulations. How do you feel about that?
I'm so excited about it. This has literally only been around for 8 months. In July of 2021, NCAA changed its rules. Bills were passed through Congress that will now allow student
Student
athletes,
athletes.
yep, to make money on their name, image, and likeness, which they could not do before. So now these student athletes are essentially turning into entrepreneurs overnight.
Mhm.
You
And you
know,
know what? But you know, here's the crazy thing because I am not a huge sports watcher. Everybody knows me, knows I do not do sports. But when it comes to people being disenfranchised and taken advantage of,
mhm,
my ears are open. And I
absolutely.
remember, when everything started, like it was an expose with, it was on Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart kind of exposed the whole NCAA thing that, wait, you guys are making and it's not millions,
Mhm.
it's billions,
Yes.
like with a B,
Yep. Mhm.
and they're making all of this money off of the backs of these athletes. And it's
Mhm.
like, whoa, why did you think that that was okay? And
Right.
I think the audacious part of it was that the students could not earn, even in their own right. Like if they
That's
wanted to
correct.
open a small business,
Mhm.
they couldn't do that
They couldn't do
because it
that.
would be a violation of the rules. And
Absolutely.
and it's like, okay, so you're getting all of the drinks and the popcorns and the beers, all that money.
Right.
I can't make money off of a t-shirt that has my name on it. It just blew my mind open. So I actually did not even know that
Mhm.
legislation had gone through. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
That makes me so happy. I don't know any athletes. I've never met an athlete, but that makes me so happy because I know that, frankly, a lot of athletes, and you work with them, I do not, and you please tell me if I'm incorrect, but a majority of them are persons of color,
Mhm.
right? And so it's kind of sad that also the same majority,
Mhm.
their parents are kind of banking on them doing well
Mhm.
so that way they don't graduate with a mountain of student debt or
Right.
they don't struggle, like
Right.
our parents had to struggle for us to get to where we are.
Mhm.
And so it's just quite sad that a company like the NCAA,
Mhm.
took advantage and did that. So thank you so
Exactly.
much for sharing that. But if you talk about adding another practice area, what made you decide to say, okay, I love IP, I love trademark, but let me add this next area?
It actually fell right into what I was already doing. So, like I said, student athletes are becoming business owners overnight. So, if you are a student at University of Maryland and all of a sudden you get a deal from Nike and they're telling you that they are going to pay you um, thousands of dollars for a tweet or for post on Instagram or for you doing a TikTok, all of the schools are required to provide education to the students. They require the students to report all of their deals. But I said, well, what are the students going to do with the money that they get? So that's why I said they're becoming business owners overnight, and therefore I wanted to help them start their businesses, just like I'm helping other small business owners and entrepreneurs. They need to own their own intellectual property as opposed to uh, the sponsor paying for their trademark, and now that trademark is property of the sponsor as opposed to the student. So I want the students to be protected. The students need financial help. They're supposed to get financial education, but do they have a bookkeeper? Do they have an accountant? And do they have an estate planner? Because these are all issues that they're going to face while they're still in college.
I
Just think
love
about
it.
how much you had to juggle while you were in school, just being a student, number one. Then there's a student athlete, number two, who has to be in school and perform and practice. And now you have this opportunity that you don't want to pass up to make money. And some of the coaches have been speaking out about this too. It's like these deals will be a distraction for the students because they might be more concerned about their money than playing on the field. So they need help. They need help, and they need help turning this opportunity into a business that could provide generational wealth for them and their communities.
I'm speechless right now because when you said these are student athletes, the first thought in my mind was, man, I blew through a lot of money in college, right? I was stupid, for lack of a better term. I don't want to say stupid, excuse me. I was ignorant, right? I was ignorant on how to properly manage my money. So as a result, and it's funny because my mom would always tell me, oh, she calls me Nadine. She's like, Nadine, you should always, just take 50%, put it away. And blah, blah. I'm like, Mom, it's okay. It's a new cell phone. I want the cell phone. Give me the Jordans. Give me this, give me that. But I never thought to myself, because I'm in college. I'm, 20 something years old. I'm not thinking about money management,
Right.
Now, of course, it's a different story. I've wised up, but realistically, if we can learn these things either in high school or in college, we'd be so much better off, right? And even my son, he's 14, he's learning it in high school now, right? So they're starting them off early. But, back to you, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if a financial planner, an estate planner, an accountant, a bookkeeper, all of the things that you're supposed to have, right? When you are, and insurance is another good one, right? Because realistically, these kids are in college and they're not thinking about, will I need this for when I'm done with college? And maybe if I don't make it to the pros, I mean, ultimately that's their goal, but what if, right? What if you decide to change your mind? What if you get injured? What if something happens? Like, do you have something to fall back on? Exactly. So it sounds like they're in wonderful hands with you. And please keep me updated on that progress.
I will.
I think that is absolutely, just fascinating. And earlier you talked about, fear. I think fear is like a major thing for, I think for women attorneys, I think for humans, period. Right. So how did you overcome your fear? And definitely naysayers, there will always be naysayers. But how did you overcome that?
So when you spoke about not practicing family law anymore for your mental health, that's where I was when I was practicing insurance defense. I felt like when you get up for work in the morning and you get in your car in the morning to go to work and you just bust out in tears, it's time to go. So, this is actually my second attempt with the firm. I had opened it before, but I got scared and I went and took a quote unquote regular job. And I was miserable again. And I had an attorney friend who owns her own practice who said, when are you going to bet on yourself? You're miserable. And at first I thought, well, I can work, here full time and run my practice at night. But, in the practice of law, there's very little time, left over. So again, when I always go back to, do you want to be that attorney sitting in their car crying on the way to work? And that helped me get over my fear. Not to say that it's completely gone. You have your days. But I wanted to be happy.
Yeah, there's plenty of days where it's like, whoa, do I do this? It could be down to like a marketing strategy, right? To maybe changing the colors of your scheme, right? And just picking a color, right? There's always something in the back of your mind that says, ooh, what if this doesn't work? Speaking of marketing, what do you usually do, to get your name out there?
So I am working on ramping up my marketing. A lot of it has been by word of mouth. I've been on social media, but not the way I should be. So thank you, number one, for inviting me on this podcast, because this will be a part of my marketing. Like, hey, check me out over here. But I'm definitely working on a marketing strategy because the students, where are they? They are on Instagram and TikTok.
Yes, they are all day.
Right. And then I also market to the parents because, again, these are still students, but some of them have parents that want to help them and want to set them, the students, up correctly.
Mhm.
And they are on Facebook and LinkedIn. So with all of this, where do you spend your time? And for me, I decided that video is going to be the way to go. The video
Mhm.
is the future, and I will create videos and spread them across social media and try to educate as much as possible. So my marketing is really coming in the form of education.
Yes, yes. Social media is big. It took me some time to kind of just give it up and say, listen, just get it done. When
Hmm.
you talk about fear, I had a severe fear of being seen.
Hmm.
It was borderline crippling, right? And it just, for some reason, I had it in my head that, if I can be seen, people are looking at my hair, they're looking at my lipstick, and they're looking
Absolutely.
at, I've put on, too many pounds over the years. And I'm thinking, okay, are they looking at, whoa, she's gained
Hmm.
weight? Like, all these like really irrational fears in my head. And one day, I was just like, F it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Because, you see people out there, no matter what attention they're getting attention because they're putting themselves out there. They're saying, listen, this is me. This is who I am. And I had a conversation with my producer and we initially started talking about it, gosh, I think early last year.
Hmm.
And, she's shaking her head. She's like, yeah, early last year. And she would always ask me, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. And I just kept like pushing it to the side.
Hmm.
And finally I said, you know what, I'm going to dive right in and I'm going to put my heart out there. And whatever feedback I get, I get it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I had all of the same fears. I still do about appearing on social media. And we also have, I don't want to speak for you, but I know I can speak for a lot of Black women. A lot of us are perfectionists, have feel the need to show up a certain way.
Yes.
As an attorney, I don't want to show up on TikTok in my bonnet.
Okay.
That's just
Yep.
something that I'm
Yep.
not going to do. That
Yep.
might work for another attorney. There are some attorneys that are doing crazy things on TikTok that I
Mhm.
don't feel like I have license to do, which I probably do.
Mhm.
But there's a certain way that you want to show up, and
Yeah. Yeah. But when you talk about trademark, right? This is our brand.
Mhm.
This is our babies, right?
Yep,
And we don't want to kind of just show up any old way.
correct.
And I'm from a West Indian Caribbean background, right? So
Hmm.
for me, image is everything. That's
Hmm.
how our parents grew up. And that's how they raised us. It's like, stand up straight. People are looking at you, or don't slouch, or don't do this, don't do that. And so, unfortunately, you do grow up with that perfectionist mentality. But I also don't think being attorneys makes it any better
Not
because
at
we
all.
all have the same personality. We
Yep.
are all type A,
Mhm.
overachievers, super driven, and just frankly, we don't know when to stop.
Not at all.
We really, really don't. So I don't think that helps us either.
Right.
So, what are ways that kind of like ground you? Because I know if you're anything like me, you would do this for 15 hours, a day and, take a 30-minute break and get back to it, right?
Mhm.
Like what kind of keeps you grounded and keeps you, taking care of yourself and not driving yourself crazy?
Okay. So I will start with the morning routine that um,
Yes, we need the
I
morning
have.
routine.
Yes, your producer dropped a little note about that. So after reading, I think it was Atomic Habits by James Clear, and
Love that.
and listening to some great speakers. My morning routine consists of getting up, self care, brush your teeth, go downstairs. I go into the Bible app. I read my verse of the day. I follow that plan. I make a cup of coffee. I head over to Spotify. There's a podcast called Think Positive
Oh, I
with.
love that one.
Yep. So I think we've been following the same thing. So,
Yeah.
you get 2 affirmations a day
Mhm.
and a workout afterwards. So kind of calmed down on the workouts because I usually like to work out outside, and it got
Mhm.
cold. But
Mhm.
yeah, that is my ideal morning routine to get going. And to calm down, this is why I giggled. To calm down, I like true crime and crime in
Oh,
general. So
wait. Your
I,
idea of calming down is watching crime videos, crime shows.
either watching or listening. So I've discovered podcasting since I
Okay.
became a law firm owner. So the one that I love is called Sisters Who Kill. I probably listen or watch Dateline every day, and I play on social media. So social media is not always, for business. I definitely used it socially first. So
Mhm.
a good cat video will go a
I
long way.
love a cat video. I love a good dog video too. I definitely do. But it's my sister. She loves those crime shows. They creep me out. I'm not watching that. I already have an overactive imagination. I am not watching that. The last horror film I watched, I think I had nightmares for like 2 years after that. I'm
Oh my
good.
goodness.
But there is an app, speaking of self-care, that has really helped me kind of keep my streak up. And I think I'm at a streak of 28 days. So I'm
Oh
excited.
wow.
I know. Streaking is kind of like the new thing. It's like tricking your brain to say, oh, just one more. I want to get to this number. And then
Okay.
eventually you wake up, you're at like day 100 and
Oh
you worked
wow.
out every day, or you drank, 8 ounces of water every
Hmm.
single morning. So it's called Fabulous.
Let me take that
And
down. Thank you.
you're welcome. And it also provides you with different affirmations. And it just, encourages you to keep going. And you can put your AM, PM, and evening
Oh,
routine
nice.
in it. Yes,
Okay.
yes. So it's definitely worth it. But, Karen, thank you again for being here with us.
You're
How
welcome.
can your clients best find you?
They can best find me at the website, which is www.cogerlawfirm.com.
Okay.
Coger Law Firm on all social media, as well as Karin Coger Esquire on social media.
All right. Well, thank you. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. Are you on LinkedIn also?
I am.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is being broadcast on all social media platforms. So, if you want to subscribe, feel free to do so. Karin Coger, thank you again for talking with us, talking about all things Amazon, small business, and just being kick-ass. Thank
All
you
right.
again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I am your host, Marie-Yves Nadine Jean-Baptiste, owner and CEO of the Saint Yves Law Firm. Karin, thank you again.